Welcome to my channel, Manifest Your Quest. This is Rashi Roop Laxmi, and this channel, Manifest Your Quest, is all about manifesting your dreams and goals. I am a tarot reader and astrologer. I'm a manifestation and a performance coach as well. And I am here to help you manifest your dreams, your goals faster than you ever thought possible. So every time I have some wonderful guests before me. Today I have Naveen before me, who will help you manifest your quest in your life. So let me introduce you to Naveen. Who is Naveen after all? He is a pioneer in improv. He's the one who, he actually, he's grown up in Delhi, and he has went to Delhi University. But what I can understand is he got into acting, he got into training and directing and writing, there itself, while you were into some kind of a play, kind of a, what was it, Act One, right, Naveen? That you got into.
Yeah.
And then there were some wonderful, what I understand is you did some wonderful and memorable plays that you later on decided that, yes, actually cinema is your forte after all. And television or screens, right, is your forte. So you have done some remarkable movies like Rocket Singh and the Salesman of the Year, right? And not only that, there were others as well. If I'm not mistaken, you were in the movie of Ranbir Kapoor, one movie of Ranbir Kapoor. That was...
Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. I've done a movie called Missing. I've done a movie called Bank Chor, Greater Elephant. I think the last movie that I did was Missing. That's the one that I did. And after that, the OTT platforms in India exploded. And then I've been doing web series. I've done a few of them, like Inside Edge, Bhag Bini Bhag, Magic, and all these. Yeah.
So, and you have been playing more of darker shades, of character, isn't it?
It started off as that. It started off with playing characters that had a darker bent, not necessarily dark characters, but were people which had a darker bent towards the human psyche. And then ever since I've been focusing on my comedy career or my improv comedy career, I've been getting characters that are slightly more comical in nature, still maintaining the darker bent, but a lot more comical in nature.
That's awesome. So thank you so much for coming here on my show here, Manifest Your Quest, The Power of You. And I believe that whoever I call on my platform, they are all trailblazers. They are the ones who have, and like you are a pioneer in improv, in comedy. So I would like to put you to a few questions, first, since you are into cinema, so I'm sure you would love to answer that. Like, how would you describe yourself in a quote or a song?
Quote or a song. My favorite quote is by one of the actors that I really admire. His name's Robin Williams, and one of his most famous quotes is what I also use for my motivation, which is, we're given a small spark of madness, and it is our duty to protect it from the world. That's my favorite quote, and the song that I think really describes me.
That's beautiful. The small spark of madness, and it's your duty to protect it. Yeah. That's incredible. Being a life coach, this is so beautiful. I can really appreciate it. I can understand the beauty of the, where it is coming from. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he tried to say in that quote was that there's just so much creativity or joy that we have in ourselves. And we need to, we should not let it get bogged down by hatred or jealousy or envy or doubting ourselves. It's just, you have this madness, explore it, enjoy it, let it be the thing that drives you, and protect it from anything that takes it away, anything that diminishes it, because it's madness is where, or not necessarily madness, but inspiration and creativity kind of lies in that zone of dreams and reality. It's in between there, because dreams are something that we cannot word, or cannot actually understand, because they transcend the natural given laws that our minds can understand. And reality in itself is very dull and slow. Like time passes, it does pass, it doesn't stop, but it passes slowly when you're in it. So creativity lies in between there, where that thing that you cannot explain and what reality is where it meets. So I think that's what he was talking about, protecting. And a song that I really, I think I've always related to the song. I heard it as a child. It's a Dev Anand song that my parents used to really enjoy. I used to play in the house, and as I was a kid, I used to hear it a lot. And because I heard it a lot, it's something that I thought of often. And I think the song was "Hum Hai Rahi Pyar Ke, Humse Kuch Na Boliye," which is like, everyone wants to be happy go lucky. No one wants to be, bothered with, sorry about that. No one wants to be bothered with dark thoughts. You always want to be in a comfortable, carefree space. And the song kind of talks about everything from where we go, how we get there, the people we meet on the way, and how we want to be with them. And I've always been, I think, a student of human behavior. That's what led me into studying medicine. Then giving that up and getting into theater, then jumping on to
So that's awesome. Like you are a doctor turned an actor.
No. I was studying to go into medical college when I was introduced to theater. And within a few months, all those, I think, 7 years of getting ready to go into medical college was pushed out the door, and all my attention went into theater. Because I was always encouraged by my parents to do what fascinates me, to do what interests me. Don't do anything that people tell you should do. And I've always been that way. I think one of the biggest faults I have in my life is I like exploring stuff. And the minute someone says, "Oh, you're really good at this, this is what you should do," is when I stop believing in it. Because like, if you're already good at it and people recognize it, why continue to explore it anymore? And it gets boring for me. So my parents were always like, do what you find interesting. And even if it means, you have to go down a completely different path in life. So I had been training to be a doctor, and like I said, once I was introduced to theater, just the ability to tell stories, to understand different kinds of characters, different kinds of people, different lives, just to live those different, like if I had become a doctor, I would have been a doctor for the rest of my life. But as an actor, I have been a bar owner, I have been a newspaper reporter, I have been a corporate boss, I have been a shiv bhand, I have been what do you call? I have been a husband, a son. I have been a technician. I have been a driver. All sorts of things. So you get to be all those characters without having to just be stuck with one thing.
That's incredible that you are actually, and the way I have seen you, like, telling stories, the way you go about, improv, the improv part, especially where you're actually so good at creating new things and, getting the laughter out of people. That's simply amazing. And it is something which is, which is much more appreciated perhaps in this world today, because that laughter, that happiness, that moment of joy and happiness really matters to people. And that is what, especially during this time of pandemic, when I never have watched so much of comic shows as I have done during this time, I must say that I have come to know about most of the comedians now than I used to know earlier, and how this part is so important to us.
Yeah.
So I would like, if you do not mind, can you sing that song that you were talking about? A line. I
I'm
know
not,
that you.
I'm not a singer, man. Um, mm, हम है राही प्यार के हमसे कुछ ना बोलिए हम है राही प्यार के हमसे कुछ ना बोलिए जो भी प्यार से मिला हम उसी के हो लिए.
हम उसी के हो लिए. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
So, Naveen, if you can tell us and my viewers how your journey have been up here, like how was it?
It's been what I'll say, it's been challenging for very different reasons that people consider challenges. Like I came from a well-educated, decently well-off family. Both my parents are doctors, so they had a very decent life. I had a very good education growing up. My life was surrounded by books and adventure. We used to live in Delhi near a park which had a monument. We used to explore it every day. I had lots of friends. I had an older brother who was protective and very intelligent, very smart. I still have him. He lives abroad now, but growing up, he was very protective of me, and I used to try and be like him. Um, and I lived a very, I would say I lived a decently protected life as a middle class kid. Only after I got into theater and started going to uh, theater companies and college, is when I started understanding what life is all about. And it it affected me in the sense that there is a lot of morality that we are taught as kids, and there is a lot of black and white, look at the world this way, look at the world that way, that we're taught as kids. uh, all those notions, and I think I am someone who doesn't form a belief very quickly, but once I do form it, it's set in stone for me for a very long time. It's very hard for me to break the beliefs I do have. But until I make those beliefs, I question them a lot. So those are the challenges that I have felt or faced as an actor, or living on my own, like living in a creative field. Um, I don't think there were a lot of people in my family or friend circle who were very creative or involved in creative occupations. So learning to deal with people, learning to understand people, learning to take myself out of the comfort zone. Um, someone said once that as an actor, you are always applying for jobs, and the idea in profession is apply for a job, get it, stay with it as long as you can. We as actors are always facing rejection. So recognizing or understanding that rejection is a huge part of being an actor or a performer or any kind of a creative person. Coming to terms with rejection has been the most interesting and challenging aspect of my journey. Um, I was 16 when I started theater with this gentleman by the name of Mr. Barry John. Um, worked with him, studied with him, did a couple of plays with him for about a year and a half. I was too young to understand him. He was a very good teacher, and his depth of understanding was so much that what he used to say, I could not understand it because I had no life experience. After that, I joined a small college in Delhi because I hadn't prepared for college education. I was preparing for medical entrances. I joined a small college called College of Vocational Studies, where I learned book publishing for some reason. But in that time, I was doing a lot of theater. I was going to a lot of theater companies. I was learning how to, and I was learning the respect for your art form, the stage, by doing everything from the ground up. I was sweeping floors. I was making chai. I was folding clothes. I was moving furniture around. I was sitting in the back just watching actors rehearse. Did that for about 3, 4 years, and then I joined Act One, as you had mentioned. Studied with this teacher by the name of Mr. N.K. Sharma, who we used to meet every day. Even if we weren't working on a play, we were working every day on acting, our voice, our body, our emotions, our expressions, our beliefs, our thoughts, our understanding of behavior. Um, Monday to Sunday, holidays. Did that for about 7 years before I moved to Mumbai. And then in Mumbai, just started as an actor, did a movie called Rocket Singh, which opened a lot of doors for me. Um, I've done about 15 films. I mean, in 2009, I moved here. I think it's now 12 or 13 years that I've been in Mumbai. I have done 15 films, 40 plus ads, 5, 6 web shows. Dabbled in a little bit of theater as well in Mumbai, but it just requires a lot of time, which I didn't have as a professional actor. And then improv, I pretty much my entire time in Mumbai, I have been an improviser, and I've done like 500 plus shows and stuff like that. So that's pretty much been my journey. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's so like you have covered so much. You have learned so much in seems like in not a lot of like you have done a lot. Like what I hear about theater artists is like once they start off, they are there most of the time, and the learning comes slowly and gradually, and seems like you have covered a huge area and quite a huge arena in all parts of your acting career. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
And now, if you can tell me as an actor, since you are a theater actor, a movie actor, a television series actor too, you have done 7, and if you can tell me, what do you find the most enriching, most interesting in your life that you would like to do all the time in your times of leisure?
Sorry. What's the question again? What do I want to do in my leisure time, or what do I want to do with?
Yes, those enriching, those enriching moments for you. What are the moments that you find is most interesting and enriching for you?
I think just the fact that you get to meet a lot of people. It's not the same people every time. Although I have worked with a few people over and over again, of quite a few times. But you just come across a lot of lives. It's not that you're in one job and you have the same colleagues for years and years and years. As an actor, you meet people for maybe sometimes a day, sometimes a week, sometimes a month, sometimes 4 months. And you make bonds because you want to try and portray the honesty of your character and the relationships that they have with other characters. And you end up making these bonds with all these other actors and directors and production crew people. And once this project is over, you're done. You're moving on. You're going on and moving and meeting some new people. So the number of lives I've come across, the number of people I've come across in this city, from famous to new to people in the grind like me, people adapting to their to a new city, a new life like me. I think that's the most interesting part of the entire work that I do.
Okay, so it seems like you love understanding people and relationships and how it is the dynamics of how it goes about, different kind of people and understanding them. This is what I have understood. Like you have a lot of understanding of what people are, of different characters.
It's like, for example, this is what my teacher used to say. When a doctor goes home, they don't stop being a doctor. They look at the world from the eyes of a doctor. When a businessman goes home from his office, he doesn't stop being a businessman. He looks at the world from the eyes of a businessman, everything. And similarly, like an actor's job is that even if you're not acting, you're looking at the world from the eyes of an actor. And our job is to understand human beings, human relationships, human journeys, human stories, human behaviors, and just constantly be a student of it, studying it all the time, because everyone has a different story. Everyone is different. So what is it that makes them special? Those are the things that we're supposed to um, understand and portray. So yeah, I mean, meeting new people is always beneficial. As an actor, and I moved to a new city. Like I was 27 when I moved to Mumbai. I had lived 27 years in Delhi, and when you move to a new city and you know no one over there, it's great to just meet as many people as you can. Like I have friends who have nothing to do with acting. I have friends who have nothing to do with the social strata I'm in. I have friends who don't speak the same languages as me, and I've met them all in this city, and I've understood their lives. They've understood my life. It's been a unique learning experience. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, in fact. So, Naveen, now getting back to the subject that I am all about, manifestation.
Yeah.
So, firstly, do you believe in manifestation?
I I I think I believe in short-term manifestation. I don't know if long-term manifestation has. Um, I think I believe in short-term manifestation that leads to long-term manifestation. Like for example, when I decided to become an actor, um, I knew I have to go to theater. I have to go there to the practices and rehearsals every day. I have to learn certain things. And those small goals that I would, was trying to achieve finally brought me to Mumbai, and got me to, work as an actor, experience life as a professional actor. Um, but there was that end goal, that I'll go to Mumbai, I'll be on the cinema screen. People who I know and love will see me there. They'll be proud of me. So that goal was there, but I think to get there, you had to have smaller goals. It's I'm not a big health freak or a fitness freak. I usually tend to work on my fitness when I am my job requires it. But there was a trainer I had worked with some years ago, and there were a bunch of exercises that they were making me do, which I found very difficult. And they said, you know what, forget what the exercise is supposed to be. Break down the steps of that exercise and just visualize you doing that one step. And if you can do that one step, stop. Just visualize doing that one step and do it again tomorrow and the day after and the day after. And once you have become comfortable with that, you can see it and achieve it, visualize the next step, do that, do the two together, then visualize the third step, do all three together over a period of time. And by the end of it, you'll be able to visualize the entire movement and you'll be able to do all of it. So I believe in that kind of manifestation. I've not been able to understand or jump into life goal manifestation, if you want to call it. Oh, that's what I am, and that's what I'm going to keep talking about every day or keep thinking about every day, and one day it will happen on its own. I believe that long distance goal requires all these small steps to get there. So that's what I think.
That is actually a fact, and you're so beautifully actually broken up and explained. So the viewers here are actually getting a very good example of what is manifestation. So just thinking about something doesn't make it come true. It has to be divided into goals, smaller goals, like I say, smaller milestones to actually reach the bigger one.
Yeah.
So beautifully explained by you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I would like to ask you a manifestation, not in terms of bigger goal, but something small maybe. Or do you remember anything in your childhood that you have thought, अरे ये तो मैंने बचपन में सोचा था, देखो ये हो गया, types,
Interesting. Something I thought as a child. I was very weird as a child. I wanted to be everything. And like I said, my parents encouraged exploration. My parents were like, do whatever you want. And when you do it, there is no, as a child, there is no stress, right? They told me very early on that as a child, there is no stress in explore it. If you like it, great, continue. If you don't like it, give it up. We don't mind. It's nothing to be ashamed of. So there is this thing that I always like. I've learned 6 musical instruments. I don't necessarily play them all, but I've dabbled in the learning of 6 musical instruments. I have tried to study 2 or 3 different languages. I have traveled. I have danced. I people never considered me a singer, but I have performed musical improv abroad through invitation. I never thought I'd be a lead actor of anything. I've been a lead actor of something. So I think as a child, I always wanted to be good at everything. Oh, my brother's good at tennis. I want to be good at tennis. Oh, that person's good at athletics. I want to be good. Oh, I see that person's good in debate. I want to be just as good at them as debate. I'm not the best at everything, but the phrase that encapsulates something that I manifested for myself is, I'm the jack of all trades, master of none, but better to be just the master of one. You know, I can talk on all sorts of subjects. I don't think there is a subject, unless it's very technical. I don't think there is a subject that I can't talk to anyone about. And I think that was one thing that I really wanted to. Because my parents were both doctors and my brother was such a super genius. And my life was surrounded by books. I just wanted to be very knowledgeable. Like I want to know about everything. And I think I've manifested that. Like I said, there is not a single topic out there that I cannot talk about or
You do not
discuss.
know
So, yeah,
about.
yeah.
You kind of you understand and you have this thing that I should know. And yes, I know most of the things that is around, right?
Yeah, there is just so much to know in
No,
this world, like why restrict your understanding and your knowledge to just a few things around?
absolutely. That's a beautiful idea and beautiful, thought actually.
Yeah.
And I think today every parent wants that kind of thing to be ingrained in their kids. And they
Yeah,
should be
yeah. I mean,
like,
let your kids just explore and learn everything. We tend to very early in life decide what our kids should be. I don't have kids, so I can't claim to speak truthfully for everyone. But I do see that there is a push, there is a certain thing, like we want our parents suddenly at a very young age pre-decide for their kids. I want my kid to be this. There is an old joke about India as a country, is that India is the only country in the world where everyone is an engineer before they try to figure out what they want to do in life. Everyone's pushed into this academic field.
so
So
true, so true, so true.
yeah, so it's just like, let kids be and they'll explore. Give them a give them a thirst to read,
Mhm.
even if it's on a Kindle. Like I do not have an issue with kids having these devices that they have in their hand, but what are they using it for? Are you using that device to nurture the kids thirst for knowledge, or are you using it to distract them? Like I know I've seen it, and I'm again, after I started raising 2 pets. I've never had pets my entire life, but in July this year I got 2 kittens. And every understanding or every criticism I've had of people who have had pets in the past just was completely diminished, because I understood it's a whole different thing to watch someone else raise pets and to do it yourself. So similarly for kids, like I see a lot of people using phones to distract their kids because they want to talk on their own phone, or they want to have a conversation with someone, or they want the kid to eat the food, so they give them a phone and they distract it, and then they do some secondary activity at the side. Um, but maybe, you just want to give the kid that to, read a book or watch something interesting, So, I mean,
Mhm.
that's
Actually, to tell you the truth, this is a different era altogether, I think, because of the technology boom. Now the kids want everything on their screen. This is what I have heard from my friends' kids and the kids also. So definitely Kindle, but they want everything ready
But
made.
here's my question. The kid did not know what a screen was until we showed it to them.
No, that
A
is
baby
true.
doesn't a baby doesn't come out of the womb going iPhone 13. No, it doesn't. It comes out saying Mama, Papa, and then we introduce the screen to them,
Very
or they see
true.
us like I.
Doing it.
There is
Yes.
a there is a um, there is a book that I used to read a lot. It's called Understanding Human Body, Human the sign of the body language. And we all, if we were to sit down and look at ourselves and just observe ourselves sitting or eating or listening or anything, we mimic things that our parents do. We have the same way of maybe sitting, maybe standing, maybe talking, maybe when you're listening to someone, people put their hand on their cheeks and listen. There will be something similar between us and our parents, because they are the ones we see and we're like, oh, this is what we're supposed to be like, or this is what we're supposed to become, or this is how you stand, because the baby doesn't know anything. So when the baby sees us on our phones all the time, then they're like, I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to do that because
Very
they're doing it.
true.
That person
Indeed.
gives me food, that person loves me, that person protects me, and that person does that. So I need to do that. And then the baby decides like, okay, I need a phone or a screen. So
That is a fact. That is an absolute fact that you are actually stating. So, guys, whoever is viewing this, you know what to convey. The kids need to be away from those things that you need to be away if you want them to be away from those things, right? Isn't it?
like there is a show called on Netflix, there's a movie called The Social Dilemma, where they talk to people who have worked in these big tech companies like Apple and Google and Facebook and all. And they're talking to these people who've worked at a really high level at all these big technology giants. Across the board, I think there were about 12 or 15 people who were interviewed in that film. All of them keep devices away from their children. Like some of them have given up devices for themselves. Like I am not on a device. My laptop or my computer is in another house away from my main house. It's in a shed at a 50-yard distance from my house. And when I need to work, I go there. Otherwise, there is no phone, no iPad or anything in our house, because they're keeping their kids away from them. The influence of these things. So
Very. I've
the
heard
ones
about
who
it.
make us, the ones who make us use them are the ones who are keeping themselves away from them. So what does that say?
Actually,
Yeah.
actually, I've heard about Bill Gates. That's what he does. He has not
Yeah.
given his kids the devices. I don't know at what age did they get after all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the subject of manifestation, I would like to ask you, how has persistence been a very important ingredient for you to manifest what you have wanted in your life?
It's been very important. Like persistence is something. Persistence is a habit. It's a habit that one has to like develop. It's not something that can come out of sheer willpower. It is not something that can come out of just wishing for it. Uh, you have to develop a habit of persistence. For example, I have a severe back injury. I got it when I was 17. And I have chronic back pain every day. The only thing that allows me to live a back pain free life is losing weight and staying physically active. But when the injury manifests itself, or when the injury flares up, I am bedridden or unable to do a lot of physical activity for 3 to 4 months at a stretch. The last time I got where my injury flared up because of some random act was in March, and since then I have been unable to get back to my fitness routine. I've gained about 20 kgs. My back pain is back. In fact, today, right after this interview, I was thinking, like, my plan was I'm going to start a small amount of activity, physical activity that is exercise based to, strengthen my back again from today and start building that thing of I've set a goal of 30 days. I want to do it every day for 30 days. And then when I get there, I'll set another goal for, okay, another 30 days, and then another 30 days, and then another 30 days. Um, so persistence is something that no matter what you do, it is very important. You have to nothing. In fact, one of the things that I have been persistent with recently has been creating content on social media. Um, it's become social media, especially Instagram and stuff like this, has become a huge part of my profession as an actor, as a performer. The more you're out there doing it, the more you're out there showing it, the more the chances of people following you, liking you, and your work being appreciated. But I've always fallen into the trap of believing that, art is so much more than social media. But I think about 30 days ago, I said, you know what? I can criticize it all I want. I can doubt it all I want, but it is a big part of life now. So either I can crib about it and stay out, or I can jump in and see what happens. And one of the things that I did for myself was I'm going to try and create content every day. Like, no matter how good it is, if it is good, great. If it is not good, okay. But I'm going to try and create something every day. And I've been doing it consistently. And now what has happened after doing it for 30-35 days is, in the beginning, I would not get an idea, or I would doubt myself. Should I do this? Should I make this? Should this be, something that I put out there for people to see? Now the doubts disappeared. Like, there's no longer this self-judgment. There is more of ideas coming in and like, okay, how do I make this? How do I present this? Like right now I'm in the phase of how do I present it? So there's another learning involved in it. But the persistence of doing it every day has helped me get over this rather critical and self-judgmental thinking that I've had about myself. It's something that I made. It's a thought. I did it. People like it, great. People don't like it, okay. But it's for me to create. So yeah, I had to do it for 35 days straight to get into that, make that habit. They say that it takes 21 days to form a habit. And after that, it becomes just a natural part of yourself. So yeah, persistence is very important.
Well, indeed, that's a beautifully said thing by you. And if you can tell us, Naveen, what has that one moment, that Eureka moment, a moment of clarity in your life, in your understanding about something, about yourself, or maybe a point of transformation, perhaps? Can you share with us something, some moment that you have gone through it?
I think it's a moment that every performer or actor goes through. I was 17 when I did my first play, first ever professional. I'd been doing like plays at school. My entire life in school, like every year I used to be part of a school play. But it was a school play. It was in front of your own friends and their families, It was taken more of as a school task than anything else. And there were no one buying tickets or anything like that. But the first time I did a professional play, I was 17. And when the audience applauded something that I did on stage, I remember it was a moment where I had to curse on stage and I had to smoke a beedi, and my parents were sitting right there. And when I did it, I did something in that moment that the audience applauded. And that's when the acting bug bit me. When I was like, this is actually what I want. This is what I actually really like. I like the fact that people applaud, enjoy something that I do. And I think that was the biggest Eureka moment for me that happened 23 years ago. And I've been just following that ever since.
So seems like that particular moment gave you so much of what do you call it? There's a release, neurotransmitter release, of oxytocin, serotonin, or dopamine. So you're so happy
Yeah.
about it that you're like, oh my god, this is what I want for the rest of my life, right?
Yes.
So you saw a
Everything.
screen from yourself.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
That was just what I like. The world for me shifted. Like everything that I had thought of, believed, wanted was transformed, changed into something completely different. Like I started seeing the world differently after that moment. And I consider my life pre that moment was something else, and post that moment is what it is now. Like it's that life changing moment for me. It completely changed my life. Thank you.
This calls for applause, I think. And I would like to ask you to give my viewers a piece of advice that you think that because during the time that we have seen in last few months, life has been throwing some unprecedented scenarios, and most of the people in this world have experienced it.
Yeah.
During the time of pandemic. So when life throws you a curveball, how do you ask people to deal with it?
I'll say it's a very old advice. It's not something that I have come up with. It's not very original from my part, but it's take it one day at a time is what I would say to people. And also value yourself more. Like, I think we are taught as not just Indians, but I think as humans, we're taught that it's very important to value a job. It's very important to value family. It's very important to value profession. It is very important to value money. And the thing that needs the most amount of value is ourselves. I think one of the biggest benefits I see of the pandemic that we as society in India have had is the conversation around mental health, or the conversation around understanding depression, understanding suicidal tendencies, understanding um, uh, anger, or having empathy for people who have mental issues. It's very important to value us. I was joking about this, and I think I was talking to someone that there are things that automatically give people respect, or automatically people get respect even if they haven't earned it. If you're married, you need to be respected. If you're older, you need to be respected. If you've got children, you need to be respected, even if you're a horrible human being. But automatic respect milta hai. And I think that's very wrong. It's very important to value ourselves, understand ourselves, what are the things that make us happy, and pursue them instead of what makes society happy, because society is never going to be happy with us. So I think that would be my piece of advice. And it takes a lot of truth searching. It takes a lot of bitter understanding of things around us. But it is very important to understand ourselves and value ourselves, because वो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना कि क्या लेके आए थे, क्या लेके जाना है, अकेले ही आए थे, अकेले ही जाना है. It's the same thing. No matter how many people you make happy, when you die, it's just going to be you and your memories. There's a very famous, I forget which motivational teacher said it. They basically said that when you die, around your deathbed will be the ghosts of all the dreams and all the ideas that you had. And how many are you willing to let go to the grave with you? You know, so if you have ideas and if you have thoughts, work on them, figure them out. Don't kill your dreams to make someone else's dreams possible.
Wow, this is so deep, so beautiful.
Uh,
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you. It's none of this is something that I have come up with. It's all things that I've heard from other people, much more uh, enlightened people than I am. But you know,
Naveen, I believe that this journey of life in itself is a lesson for us.
yeah,
And not only that, what I believe is we keep learning from others. They do not come. And the people who are supposed to be taking it takes it. And few people don't even realize that these words are spoken. So these words are basically spoken for those who are supposed to be taking it and to be applied in their life. So this is how I see it. So you might not have, said it maybe, but since you have taken it, it is yours. Like if you have understood it and you mean it, it is of course yours. Just because Shakespeare has so said those words, like we have been using, that doesn't mean that it belongs only to Shakespeare. We have been using it day in and day out, right?
yeah,
Those phrases
yes,
for us. So there's one more thing I want to understand, Naveen. How do you keep reinventing yourself as an actor, as a mentor? And how do you, for your quest of excellence, how do you keep doing that? Because I know that you are someone who is so creative. I have seen that, like being an improv pioneer yourself.
yeah.
You're already
Life is changing around us, right? When I was in school, it was very important for people to understand that there are only three jobs that you can have: doctor, engineer, or businessman. When I got into college, the countries, India as a country opened up. We had people like that was the era of the boom in BPOs and call centers and IT. So then suddenly it was very important for everyone to be part of IT or call centers and so well paying and multinational corporations and blah blah blah. Then the next thing that after the IT boom was the entertainment information boom. So now it was very important to understand all these platforms and understand all these social media apps like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that. So life around us is always changing. No matter where you are, what you're doing, it's never going to be the same. Things will evolve, things will change. And you can either be a monolith and stop and be that pebble or that stone in the river that the river of time is going to batter and smoothen out and completely erase, or you can be that pebble that flows down the river and finds itself at a new location, and then it finds itself at another location and finds itself at another location. So you're always having to reinvent yourself. And like, for example, I'm 40 now. The energy that I used to have when I started theater was very different. I was 17 at that time. I could take on the world. I could jump 10 feet into the air and stuff like that. When I came to Bombay, I was 27. I had a thirst for work. I wanted to meet everyone. I wanted to work with everyone. Now at the age of 40, I'm very careful about the people I meet, the kind of work that I do, the kind of people I hang out with. So life evolves around us. So we have to keep evolving and reinventing ourselves. And it's by being accepting of what's there. I mean, I was very critical of TikTok, but right now, the place that I am in my life, if TikTok was unbanned and was available again, I would jump onto it. I would be creating content on TikTok again, because I know that that is where everyone's attention is. That is where everyone is looking at. And me being a performer, I need to, be relevant. So you cannot deny that things will evolve. The first thing is to, remove the denial of evolution, and invent yourself, or in like find yourself in the space that you've been given. You have to do, you can't completely disengage from what is the reality, um, because that's when you get left behind and no one cares.
Mm-hmm. That's beautifully said. In fact, yes, we need to be perhaps always with the time. We need to be there where the world is, understand where, what is it that the evolution is all about. That is actually, something which is very positive thinking and very progressive. This is what is progressive thought all about, because change is only constant. I think, who said that? Socrates or something. I am not too sure. But change is, yes, the only constant. And very beautifully explained by you. I really love that metaphor and example that you gave about that pebble that keeps going from place to place, reinventing in itself, and uh, trying out new places. And while on the other hand, there is one large, ek patthar, bada patthar, which is slowly and gradually with time and with with water and river ke beach mein, it doesn't move, but slowly and gradually sharpens itself, but it is taking its own sweet time to do that, right? So,
I mean, there is a famous quote by Bruce Lee, the famous actor and martial artist. He said that everyone should be like water. You put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water in a bucket, it becomes the bucket. You put the water in a river, it becomes the river. So everyone should be able to adapt to whatever situation they've been given. If you become rigid, it prevents you, it causes friction, it breaks stuff around you. But a water is very gentle, like you can't hold water in your hand, it will flow through even the smallest of caps. So it's very important to have that ability to
flow
adapt. Yeah,
and,
flow and adapt. Yeah.
and adapt. Beautiful. Very beautifully said again. So thank you so much, Naveen, for coming here on the show. This is the last part of the interview, which I'm not going to take a lot of time. This is a desert part of the interview that is more of a rapid fire. Very quickly, I'm going to ask you certain questions. That is, number one is the most daring decision that you have taken till date.
Right now, have 2 kittens as pets. Yeah.
That's a very cute decision that you have taken, I think.
That's like right now, that is the biggest decision on my
If
part.
I'm not mistaken, one of them, the name is Adrak, right?
Yes, the ginger kitten is called Adrak and the calico kitten is called Elaichi because the colors match these two.
Wow, that is such a unique name that you have chosen again.
Yeah.
Adrak and Elaichi. Seems like you are a coffee or tea lover, right?
Actually, no, I love coffee. It's these are names suggested to me by my current girlfriend. She's like, they look like Adrak and Elaichi, and she is a tea lover. So I
Yeah, she's a tea lover. I'm very sure because Adrak and Elaichi ki chai, bas koi pila de. So, bas that is what life is all about. So, which is your favorite book? Coming to my second question.
There is a book called Hatchet, which I really loved as a child, and then there is a book called Sam, the Lamb, sorry, by T.J. Moore, which is the Gospel according to Jesus's best friend. It's called Lamb, and one of my most favorite books, which I've read at least 5 times, is a book called My Name is Red by the writer Oran Pamuk.
Okay, let me check out on these books. These are all something new names for me. I have never come to know, these are something very new. So what is your favorite food, Naveen?
I am a big, 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 I have a big weakness for cookies. Any kind of cookies, Parle Ji bhi de do, Rusk bhi de do, biggest chocolate chip de do, oatmeal cookie, any kind of cookie, I can eat all of them. And I used to really love, I've kind of developed an allergy for them, but I really used to love Rajma Chawal.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That is a Delhiite boy talking, Rajma Chawal, bas, aur kuch nahi chahiye.
Yeah.
Who is your biggest critic?
Biggest critic is the guy in the mirror.
Absolutely wonderful. So what is your favorite travel destination?
New York.
Beautiful. So are you an outdoorsy person or an indoor person?
Both. But it depends on, it really depends on the company. I am not a solo traveler so much as I am a traveler who likes to travel with people. So I can enjoy both. I can enjoy a nice cozy evening indoors, and I find myself absolutely in comfort in a tent on the top of a snowy mountain. So, but it depends on the company I have around.
Uh-huh. That's wonderful. And apart from your work that keeps you going, what is it that adds spice to your life, to add color to your life?
Right now is cooking. Last year during the pandemic, because of the lockdown, I had to, and I think everyone had to see a life without a maid in India. And seeing life without a maid made me realize, A, our maids are heavily underpaid, are exploited by every single person in this country. And third, I knew very few things to cook. So the thing that like my life right now revolves around discovering new dishes, exploring those new dishes, buying the ingredients. Right now, my focus a few months ago, I had my focus was heavily into cooking pies. Right now, my focus is on Japanese cuisine. Like I'm working on learning and
Sushi,
understanding that.
sashimi. Wow.
No, not sushi because that requires a lot of skill. But other than that, like their katsu bowls and their rice bowls and their omelets and a bit of understanding the way they cook their meats and stuff. I'm working on those right now.
Wow. That's again very creative. That was an awesome conversation. Thank you so much, Naveen.
Thank you,
And
Rashi.
at the end of the conversation, if I can just ask you one thing, since you have browsed through my book, what do you have to say about my book, Manifest Your Quest, The Power of You?
Um, it's it's what I'll say is that it's
It
very
has
important.
definitely found you
No, no,
dumbfounded.
no, I don't want to say something that sounds like a rehearsed answer. It's very difficult to find the courage one needs to find in themselves to actually visualize their life, you know, because of this habit that we as people or humans have, which is to look for comfort zones or look for comfort. And to step out of our comfort zone, we have to challenge ourselves. And that is something which is extremely difficult to do. It requires a lot of courage. And there's a lot of fear around us. There are a lot of people around us that say, what if this happens? That whole concept of the what if it doesn't happen? What if this something else happens? And what I like about your book is that it works. It tries to help people understand that fear can be dealt with, that doubt can be there. You can have it in front of you. And how do you still work with it? How do you prevent yourself from falling prey to the doubt? And actually, that same thing that we talked about, having those small goals, taking that one step at a time. You're just like, I'm going to take that one step and see how I have that big goal in my mind, and there is all the doubt and all the what if and all the fear is associated with that big goal. But meanwhile, here's a small thing that I can do that, it's very comfortable. And how do you build that courage? So I think that's one thing that I discovered in your book is that it helps people to work in the direction of finding their courage. And how many people find it? I'm sure your viewers and your readers who will read those books, your book, will understand. But that's the one thing that we don't get to know in life. How do we find our way through courage? Everyone expects courage to suddenly manifest itself. Everyone thinks courage will ekdam se aise aa jayega. Nahin. It takes a long time. It takes, like the word you used, it needs persistence. Courage is a habit. Courage is a practice. It is not something that will, it's not a fart that will suddenly appear. It's not a dream that will suddenly appear. It's something that you have to work at every day, and that's something that your book really helps people guide, go towards.
Thank you so much, Naveen. Such wonderful words on my book. I need to read it once again to actually, get that courage back again. This is time for me also to read it. So beautifully explained. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone who has watched this episode of Manifest Your Quest, The Power of You. And I'm sure you have got some wonderful takeaways from Naveen with respect to your own manifestation. What do you want to achieve in your life? What do you think that you can have? The bigger goals, and how can you reach by trying out the smaller goals and reaching to your, manifested dream. So it's not very tough. Let's try it today. Let's do it. Let's go in the way Naveen is taking us through. So, and come back again to watch another episode of Let's See Who Am I Going to Take On for the interview. Bye-bye. Bye for now. Thank you so much for watching this.